Hold on for 10 seconds to set up my Facebook. To set up my Facebook. Okay, so let's start it right now. So hi everyone, Jason here. Welcome to another deep dive section with Christian, where we don't talk about the crypto health, don't talk about the token. We go too straight into the product, right? And drill value. So and tonight in the Vietnam time, so we got a very special guest, Christian Pusateri, right? The co-founder and the co-CEO of the My Network. This is the man behind of the most talk about the AI and the Web3 infrastructure right now. And you are probably heard about the FHE token, the Binance future listing, and just launching on Binance Wallet, right? So you maybe seen the buzz about the Agentic World is a AI agent, and but what the story behind it. So and what are we really building here? Let's unpack it together. So Christian, welcome to the show. And the first thing first, can you briefly introduce about the My Network and the problem is solving, please?
Yes, absolutely. And Jason, thank you so much for having me. FHE is fully homomorphic encryption. It's a confidential compute method, but it's considered the holy grail of cryptography. And it's been considered that for decades. But it was only in the last several years that it really became fast enough and it stopped being theoretical and it started to be fast enough to be applied. And so the implications of what we can build in the web, if we have access to FHE, performant FHE, is a complete paradigm shift. It means it's big enough to kind of claim that you could really say this is almost like a Web3 to Web4 transition. And the reason that you can say that safely is because it fundamentally changes the way the data is handled. So in the current web that we've all been using for the last 20 years, which is dominated by a number of websites that most of us go to, whether they're social media platforms or search, there are protocols that we use. One of them is HTTPS. So HTTPS basically is a security protocol that governs how data is shared between websites. There are 3 stages of data, right? Data is either always in storage, it's being processed, or it's being transferred somewhere, transmission. In the current web paradigm, data is encrypted using typically AES 256 or one of the some other reasonably robust encryption methods, but not quantum resistant the way that FHE is, for storage oftentimes and for transmission, but not for processing. So that means that whenever data is being processed, for whatever reason, it has to be decrypted, and this is where it becomes vulnerable. So what FHE can do is allow data of all types to remain in its encrypted form during processing. This means that the plain text, the raw data that says explicitly, for example, Jason, your banking information or your geolocation information or the information that is the plain text, all of these types of data never go into plain text. They remain in ciphertext. So in that world, is it loud in my background, by the way? Can you hear background noise?
Yeah.
Sorry, sorry, just a moment. Sorry, 1 second. Let me just.
Okay. Maybe it's just a mechanical problem from you. Okay, I can hear you clearly.
Sorry about that. I have I have my kids at home. It's a Sunday here, and so they're being rather noisy. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. So anyways, in the web that we're now coming into, which is a web that will be dominated, we believe, by agents. So if you
Yeah.
anyone that may have seen Satya Nadella is the CEO of Microsoft, he gave a keynote speech a few months ago talking about this agentic world.
That's
So
cool.
we believe in that agentic world. We believe it is coming. We believe agents are coming here. So, and anyone who hasn't seen that talk, I recommend go watch it. It's a really great speech. But we believe that in an agentic world, the data sharing that was necessary to give us the current web with all of its features is just going to explode. We need so much more data sharing for agents to be really performant. They need to know about you, your health. They need to know where you are and what you like, how you think, what you need. They need to know, in many cases, sensitive IP information about your business or your company. And if you
Sure.
give them this information, they can be very performant. They can be very accurate. If you can, successfully explain a risk profile for trading a portfolio for you, whatever. So in this world, we believe that we need full encryption of data. And so this is where my network is really productized. So we are not an L1, we're not an L2. We designed our framework to be modular so that multiple, number of different protocols can take advantage of us and use our services. And the idea is that we encrypt a variety of types of data with FHE. FHE can't be used to encrypt everything right now. It will get faster over time, but we found some really key areas where it's fast now, and it works really well.
Cool.
Sorry. Sorry, guys. Anyway,
Oh,
so yeah, that's kind of the big picture, the big message of what we're doing, and I think that we can get more into more into kind of the product itself and some of the features. But we did just have our TGE last week, so we're the first FHE project to go mainnet, and now we're the first one. Depending on how you define FHE, we're the first FHE to go TGE, and I say that because Nillion actually. We're starting to see other really great projects that are bringing confidential compute to the market. So Nillion
right.
was a very anticipated token. They had a great raise at the end of the last bull market, or in the bear market, really. And they use homomorphic encryption. So they use kind of a simpler version of what there's homomorphic and fully homomorphic. We basically allow for more advanced computations with our solution, but they're using homomorphic encryption, and they just had their TGE a week or two ago. So you're going to start to see kind of a wave now of these projects that are bringing confidential compute, you can call it, or blind compute, as Nillion calls it, to start making Web3 a little more secure. So yeah.
So thank you so much. So this is very useful for me and our Vietnamese audience to know about the My Network products. And so let's get into this product, okay? About the Agentic World. So I have a live stream before that, and I educate everything about the My Network and what the Agentic World will help the people earn the reward from Hub. That's just on my side, and so I want to ask you deeply inside about the product and so my question is, what is the Agentic World exactly, and why does it matters? Can you hear my voice? Unmute,
Yeah. So what is
unmute.
the agentic world exactly? It's a great question. Like I said, Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, gave this speech about the agentic world, so it's worth listening to. But he is also describing an agentic world that's built on centralized rails. And what we're interested in is building it on decentralized rails, enabling the decentralized AI ecosystem, but also having products that can be used by centralized AI. So the agentic world is basically one in which you have millions, if not billions, of agents that are coordinating together to solve problems for humans or decentralized products, for DAOs, or even for companies. And these agents are executing API calls. They're coming to consensus over how to execute a task for a user. They're carving out core competency. There will be some multi-AI AI agent platforms like swarms that have a core competency, perhaps. So this swarm, for example, will be very good at trading your portfolio. Or sometimes the swarms will be multi-purpose. They'll be able to execute a number of different tasks, but they'll have to call on other swarms. They'll have to talk to other agents. And so if you can imagine a world where you've got millions or billions of agents that can do all sorts of tasks for humans, the next step is making them more performant, from the more autonomous. And by autonomous, we mean, like, right now, if you need access to compute, for example, to run your swarm, you have to have an account to host the GPUs. How can an agent do that? Or you have to have an account to make API to make API calls, right? You have to have funds. You have to be able to keep retrain yourself. So that's the trajectory that agents are going in, which is that a lot of the development being done right now is to get agents to be more autonomous, to handle more tasks, instead of just copywriting or code editing. There's some really helpful stuff they could do now, but for them to really become autonomous and work for us 24/7, we need to kind of untether them from some of these very basic things, like having to have a bank account to fund themselves, or having to have an account to make API calls, or to host the GPUs, or so on and so forth. So once we make those untetherings, we're looking at these kind of eternal, immortal agents that can work 24/7, don't need a break, and are highly performant. But it can be kind of scary if they're not tethered to something, if we still don't have a way to verify their reasoning, figure out why they do what they do, be able to look through the chain of thought, for example, is one such step. But having all of that data also be encrypted so that it can't be hacked, so that you don't have bad agents coming in and infiltrating good swarms, or that have bad intentions, or are negative in nature. So using FHE to encrypt that data is a really key step. Having on-chain verifiability is a key step, because that allows thousands of individuals or crypto projects to verify the computation of one project that already went to verify this particular agent or this particular swarm. You can have that verification be one to many instead of a one-to-one model.
That's awesome.
So these are some of the security guarantees that we think are mandatory. They're non-negotiable in order to have a truly agentic world. Otherwise, the agentic world looks a little bit concerning, right? At least that's my take. So yeah.
So I have a question from the audience. What role do agents play, and why should the user mint an agent early? Maybe they think about the period, the 30 days unlock, right?
What day at this? So the question is, what's the role of agents on our platform?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in our agentic world, so our agentic world is basically meant to be, like I said before, making sure that we encrypt the data between agents. So what my network is built is a kind of orchestration layer, so that all agents across different platforms can come to consensus together and share data, but it's all encrypted. So this is kind of like a hub where different swarms or AI agents can register. So the registration becomes private. The task that they have to achieve is encrypted with FHE, and then the data that they share amongst them is protected with FHE. So it's kind of like, I mean, this isn't the best analogy, but if you're familiar with I'm going to blank on it. The SOC 2 Type 2. There's a type of data security certificate that a lot of companies like Alchemy, a lot of the infrastructure companies have to get. SOC 2 Type 2, it's like a security audit kind of, it means that you pass the test. This is a little bit like that for agents. It's like a security badge. So now that any agent that comes through our platform is using my network's agentic world, you can trust has secure data for consensus, secure data for task registration. So their tasks are not public, because if you think about, for example, even just something as simple as a task that you, Jason, you're trading on behalf of a DAO, you have funds that you put from a DAO and you want an agent to trade them. Another agent can trade adversarially to just your DAO, right? So you don't always want even the task to be a public thing. So so it's really important that we do it. So that's our framework. I mean, the other option would have been to go like a peer-to-peer model, but we didn't see that as being viable at all. I think the orchestration network is good. And so the orchestration network kind of operates the way that like MCP is operating in the model context protocol by Anthropic, in which case you kind of have like this API coordination AI that makes AI more performant. It's a similar kind of analogy. We are an orchestration network. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. So we are not just training the AI. So we are activating productivity and gamifying users and setting up a new economic lab inside the Web3, right? So so we are next to the dip into the tokenomics. So now let's talk about the number and mechanics. Are you ready? Can you walk us through about the tokenomics of the FHE?
Yeah, sure. So the tokenomics are public.
Yeah.
You can go to mynetwork.xyz. You can go to docs.mynetwork.xyz. You'll see our tokenomics, by the way. So they're on our GitHub because obviously we're a decentralized public project.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, a big chunk of the tokenomics. Sorry.
Sorry. And the second question. I give you the old question first, and then you ask later, right? And the second is why did my network choose launch on BNB chain? Maybe because of CZ.
Oh, of course. Yeah, distribution. Yeah, of course. So we want the token to be as available to as many folks around the world as possible. BNB has been very supportive, obviously, and we want as many folks to be able to buy it. So it was a very, very easy decision. Yeah.
Yeah. So, maybe the people focus on the token, the F88, and what role will F88 play in the futures of secure AI and Web3? They mean that how we use the F88 and the feature is in the upcoming plan. Yeah, right. The token in the upcoming plan for
so current utility is similar to the utility of a lot of tokens. So staking and delegation, governance, access to rewards, access to the network. So all of that kind of stuff. There's obviously an incentive layer. Rewards are paid in FHE to validators, verifiers, etc. But in the future, you'll be able to stake FHE to agents that are registered on our orchestration layer. So I think that's going to be really cool. If there are some agents, either single agents or swarms of agents that become very productive, like some agents that are being built with ELIZA or with swarms, Spheron, there's many of them. If they register with Agentic World, you can stake tokens to them, and if they become very productive and they're actually generating revenue and they're being, like I said, producing value, you'll be able to participate in that value accrual by staking FHE to those agents. So that's, I think, really exciting.
Yeah, got you. So that's awesome, right? So we have to next to the block for about the tech infrastructure and privacy. My network is also known for pushing FHE, right? So fully homomorphic encryption. So how does the FHE give my network an edge in the Web3 privacies?
Yeah, it's a good question. So there's basically three core. Can you hear me? Yeah. There's basically three kinds of confidential compute. Okay, good. Yeah, there's a bit of a delay. Sorry. So you've got zero knowledge proofs, you've got multi-party computation, you've got FHE, and you have trusted execution environments as well. So these four technologies are kind of put into this basket called decentralized confidential compute or confidential compute. The reason that FHE is different is because it allows for data to be encrypted or to be processed in its encrypted state. So that's really important. That gives us an edge. It's kind of, of all these technologies, it's really FHE is kind of the king. And so you can use them together, and we use ZK in our framework. We use MPC in some cases where you need a select group of parties accessing the data and you want to whitelist them. MPC is great for that. TEEs are very good right now. They're fast right now, and they're scalable right now. They just have some vulnerabilities. So FHE is kind of a good long-term solution. But right now we have solutions like with Phala and Spore, where we've combined TE with Phala for like double layered security. FHE gives us an edge because if you can encrypt data for all processing, that's a service that everybody needs. DeFi needs, for example, AI needs. It's just a very needed service. The only thing holding us back is how fast it can be for all types of data. So as the hardware accelerates, we will be able to have more solutions. And the hardware, the chip manufacturers are going to probably scale 1,000x over the next few years. Probably companies like Cornami or Optalysis. So they're the chip makers. They're scaling the chips. But then what my network has done, similar to what DeepSeek just did to ChatGPT, DeepSeek showed us that you don't have to be so reliant on the hardware to accelerate in order to make a good model. They accelerated the software, right? They worked on the algorithm. That's kind of what my network has done with FHE. So we've optimized at the software level, the algorithm level. We have some innovative approaches to handling bootstrapping that have allowed our FHE solutions to be a little bit faster than the market average. And so that also gives us an edge. So, yeah.
Got you. So you know how I always say the narrative, timing, and the broadest is the three things to make the money work before in our live stream. And the token FHE is the tag that keeps the audience database usable and secure at the same time. That's right, right? So from for a part of many Vietnamese, the audience they ask about they require about can you simplify what the token FHE does for our audience.
What? So this is another. Would this be another utility question?
Can you simplify what the token does for our audience?
Yeah. So FHE token again will be used for staking, for governance, delegation, access to the network. So holding the token is participating. I think, look, the holding the token is basically giving yourself access to a rising narrative in Web3, which is confidential compute. So ZK, FHE, MPC. Like I said, Million is kind of another leader in this space as well. So you're going to see more of these projects. And a lot of these projects, not all of them, but a lot of them are infrastructure. So that's kind of like what we are focusing on. So we want to be, we want to be a core infrastructure service for the entire web to be able to encrypt sensitive data. So holding the token is being able to enjoy the use, the proliferated use of FHE throughout the industry. But then also it does give you a lot of benefits. So we have right now triple-digit staking rewards. If you go to mynetwork.xyz, you can see details on that. And like I said, in the future, you'll be able to use FHE tokens to stake to the most productive agents and swarms. So we think that's also really a nice reason to be able to hold.
Yeah, got you. So I agree with you. The FHE token have a lot of features with the XMI, and this is an upcoming blockchain, right? This maybe I call it the layer 1, right? So what's
we are.
Hello. Hello, Christian. Any mechanical problem from your side? Can you hear my voice? 1, 2, 3, check. Mọi người ơi, có lẽ như là mạng bên anh Christian đang bị trục trặc. Mọi người có nghe giọng mình không hay là do bên mình nhỉ? Bên mình hay do bên ảnh nhỉ? Hello, Christian. Hello. Hello. Bị bên anh bị sao rồi? Xin lỗi mọi người nhá, chắc là đợi anh Christian chụp chặt như thế nào.
Hi, Jason. I'm back.
Hello. That's okay.
Connection's not great.
Okay. So we talk about the long-term view on the futures of tech for XMind, not about the token Apache, about the XMind and the Agentic World. Agentic World first, please.
Yeah. Sorry, this seems like a repeat question. Do you mean to should I go back over Agentic World again?
Yeah. And so they want to know about your long-term view on the future of the tech. Maybe they ask about XMind.
XMind?
Yeah, right.
Got it. Okay. So XMind is a different project. Yeah, and it's a great question. Thanks for asking. So we actually if the audience might be familiar with a product called Venice.ai, it was launched by Eric Voorhees. He's a Bitcoin maxi, crypto OG. He's been in this space since 2014. And he actually launched a product about almost a year after we launched XMind. So XMind is just basically a user face that makes the call to ChatGPT, but keeps the user's prompt data private. And so we built that. It was, I think, the late summer of 2023. And we didn't push it too much because we were building other products.
2 years ago.
But then 9 months later, about a year later, Eric Voorhees launched Venice AI, which is the same idea. So it just protects your prompts, and then it makes the call for you to all the different LLMs. It gives you an answer, but the LLMs don't get to see your prompt. So it at least protects your prompt data. So that's what XMind is essentially, but we kind of put it underneath the umbrella of Mind Network so that it's another product you can use with Mind Network as well. And again, in this agentic world, we're trying to let our users and FHE holders take advantage of all the best AI agent developers and platforms. So whether it's Spiron, whether it's Eliza, whether it's Swarms, these platforms are probably where the most performant and helpful agents will be coming from. And so they can basically, we're partnered with these projects. They can register on my network, and now they have privacy for task registration, orchestration, execution, and protecting the data. So that's in the agentic world. Again, in this vision of a world where agents, there's millions, if not more agents, and they're all helping every single one of us with different kinds of things like our health, our work, relationships, hobbies. In that world, we just want to have the data secure. We believe that all the data should be secure. Data, prompting data, the consensus data between agents, and that we can keep the AI agents themselves kind of tethered to human control, which FHE helps with for sure.
Got you. I'm just focused on about the features, about the APY and APR, but the audience focus about the exchange. So the question is, the quiz exchange will FHE be listed on? Maybe in the future.
Yeah. So
been planning a future spot, right?
yeah. So we did the Binance Wallet, obviously, launchpad. So you can see us. So Binance Wallet we're available. We're in Binance Futures now, and then BitGet, Bybit, Kraken, several more coming. Gate, Mexi. So we're getting added more and more. Yeah. So right now there's a lot of distribution. You should be able to get us in every country in the world. Yeah.
That's huge. So let's zoom out for a bit, right? What's your view on the current macro market?
Yes, very interesting. We don't know what's going to happen. NFA DYOR. We
Yeah.
really don't know what's going to happen. I think that the markets have been really volatile because markets don't know how to price in trade wars based on tariffs. We haven't had this. The world hasn't seen this in 100 years. So I think the markets are just a little bit cautious because they don't really know how to price this in.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's going to happen. It's above our pay grade. So my network just continues to build. I think that what we have tried to do is build products that are performant now, that also take advantage of the most well-received trends in the space. So AI obviously has been a real big trend in the Web3 world for quite some time. So
It's okay. Mạng mẹo chán quá anh em đợi xíu nhá.
Sunday, maybe some of the audience has kids and they can appreciate that Sunday morning with kids is just very hard.
It's so cute, right?
I apologize.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've productized into AI, and then but here's the other thing is that probably I live in the United States, and I actually live in Washington DC, and so there's a lot of conversations happening in DC around stablecoin legislation, and that seems like it will happen over the summer, late summer maybe sooner. So that's a big step, because if that happens, that will kind of create a windfall of activity in crypto. If the US creates real thoughtful policy around stablecoins, that allows the billions of dollars, trillions to finally come into crypto that we've been hearing about for 2 cycles now. For those that have been around, I mean, the institutions are coming line, that started happening in 2017, 2018, and it just hasn't been true because there's not really good, solid regulation to allow it to happen. That's finally looking like it's going to happen. So if that happens, there are guarantees around data security that those institutions need, and my network has productized some around that. So for example, we integrated with Chainlink CCIP bridge. So you can use Chainlink CCIP. We expect that CCIP would probably be, one of, if not the main bridges for TradFi to come into DeFi. And Sergey, the founder of Chainlink, has done a lot of work meeting with both politicians, but also the leader of world banks and asset managers and investment firms. So he's done a lot of work there. So that really would open up the floodgates, we think, of capital coming into the space. And if that doesn't happen till end of summer, potentially you're looking at a lot of positive activity for Web3 for many, many months after that. I don't know. Again, this is just speculation, but I know that is a very critical event for our industry, is that if the US can kind of create stable regulation, that helps other countries get clear about it as well. You can start to have consensus around how do we classify stable coins? How do we classify the rest of these tokens, and what are securities and what are commodities yet? So once we get that really is what we need. That's the missing barrier. And so again, my network has just positioned our productization to be toward like the big sectors. So AI is one, and this other one is DeFi, with a couple of DeFi products that help those institutions come on board and have some of the basic data, just basic run-of-the-mill data security that they enjoy in Web 2 and TradFi. They just need to have it in Web 3. You can't have every single move you make be settled publicly in plain text on a ledger. You can't, or in smart contracts. That's a deal breaker for them. So we've worked to help do that. So we're well positioned, and we're working with some of the best crypto companies in the world on that endeavor.
Right. So I'm very afraid about it. 2018, you remind about it. Just I got some scam at the time. Just joined the ICO game at that time. So the crypto space have a big move from the end 2018 from now, right? So right now we have AI agent, Metaverse, DeFi. We have CS, we have Binance, but in the 2027 and 2018, we have nothing, just scammer, right? So But I still believe in I very strongly believe in the crypto space, and that's the reason why I'm full time operator in Vietnam market right now. So um, I have a question for you that how do you see about the AI trend evolving in the next 2 or 3 years?
In decentralized AI or just AI broadly?
Um, just about the AI agent and DeFi.
Well, it's so hard to predict what will happen in 6 months. So 2 years feels like you might as well ask me what's going to happen in 2065. But I would say that uh, what we see from the market now, it seems like is the number one use case for agents that community members want to see is to trade their portfolio for them 24/7 and make them money. That seems to be um, the most sought after use case. So, what we see, like the bots that we've seen so far to date and the agents and stuff like that, a lot of it is price prediction. A lot of it is price prediction, and then maybe you can feed your risk profile and get price prediction, and then maybe an agent can act on that. I think that those will probably be the agents that start proliferating first. That just seems to be what folks around the world really want. Is basically a financial advisor, investment manager, in the form of an AI. But there's a lot of exciting breakthroughs happening in health as well. I mean, already the LLMs are really good at helping you figure out an affliction that you might have. If you have, like a poison ivy or something, and take a picture of it and put it in ChatGPT, it'll say that's poison sumac, or that's poison oak, or that's poison. I can tell. So like little things like that, it's already pretty good at. I think the next step would be if we were able to share more of our health data with these models without having to worry about it going into a centralized server and being hacked, or without having to worry about the company that's gathering it is sharing it with a government and it's being used to surveil us, or it could be used for nefarious purposes. If you don't have to worry about that, which with FHE you don't, because you can encrypt it and it remains an encrypted state, no one sees the plain text, then you can get an incredible amount of insight to your own personal health, into what might be going on with some sickness that you have or a disease, or you can start acting preventatively based on your blood type, or based on your family history, your genealogy, your ancestry. So we really, I mean, largely have not been able to tap into that stuff because it's not protected. And right now there's this famous company that you might have heard of, 23andMe. The CEO of that company is married to the CEO of Google, and the company is going under, and it's a genomic company. They've taken the genetic data of, I think it's 15 or 20 million people, and the company's going bankrupt. They have to sell the company for parts, and the US government has to get involved because they say, look, this is extremely sensitive data that you have. You can't just sell this to the highest bidder. There might be bad actors out there that will buy this with a shell corporation and then use it for nefarious purposes. So that's kind of giving the whole health data thing a bad stigma at the moment, which means that health data and health AI solutions, I think, are very ripe right now for someone that could solve that problem, but it's got a bad reputation right now. So I think there's a lot of really helpful agents around health that could be launched with the right security protocols, with the right data security guarantees. That would be really helpful to users around the world. So trading and health, I think, will be two big ones, I think, up front. And then beyond that, hiring a copywriter for your company. You have a startup company or even a mature company. These LLMs and agents can be really good at writing. They can now do really extensive, like PhD level research for you on a topic, and then write a very thoughtful piece of research or piece of content. So that's really wonderful. Same with coding, same with business development, discovery in the legal field for law firms. Discovery now is being done a lot by some agents. So you'll start to see, I think, at least I would say these are the agents we start to see by like the end of this year and early in 2026. We'll start to see some really performant agents in those categories.
Totally agree. So let's talk about the agentic world. How about the deep seek? Any relationship between agentic world and deep seek?
Yes and no. So I think so what, just to, I guess, back up for a moment, DeepSeek integrated our SDK, our FHE Rust SDK. And the reason that's important is because DeepSeek basically allowed thousands and thousands of companies, small startups around the world, and individuals to basically launch their own AI product that can compete with the big AI providers. Okay, so that's a really great advancement. But the problem is all those small startups, like whether they're crypto projects or they're centralized SaaS startups that want to make an AI, they're now going to take Jason and Christian's data to train the model. And they're also they can change the weights themselves. So in a way that we don't necessarily know, it's kind of a black box. We now are going to have thousands and thousands of replications of the problem with the big centralized AI companies. It is going to be for thousands of these like small and medium-sized projects and companies. We still have the data security problem. We still have the we don't know how it was trained problem. So what my network offered with our SDK was at least those companies that are using DeepSeek, they're going to download the model, they're going to train it to make their own AI product. At least they can use our FHE Rust SDK to keep it encrypted. So now they can gather information from users without seeing it. It's encrypted. And if they have a swarm or multi-agent platform, they can encrypt that data that agents are calling on and sharing between themselves as well. So that was the big solution that we're launching there. So that's I guess you would say that's kind of a pillar in our vision of Agentic World. But with regard to like our Agent Hub Connect, like our specific product, DeepSeek. So companies using DeepSeek, if they're decentralized, sure, they can register on our on our orchestration layer. Centralized companies might not be doing that if they're using DeepSeek. They could use our FHE Rust SDK, but they might not be launching a swarm or agents that they would want to register necessarily on our orchestration network. So that's why it's kind of a yes and no answer.
Yeah, thank you so much. So Christian, amazing insights. So before we close, two quick things. Okay, the first is what next for the My Network in the next 30 60 days, 2 months?
30 to 60 days. I think we will do our best to be listed on the handful of exchanges that we're not yet. So we would just like everyone in the world, no matter where you are, to be able to buy the token. So we'll continue to work on that. We'll continue to we're launched our roadmap, so we'll be fine tuning that. We're going to have incentive programs. So we have a big chunk of our tokenomics are meant for the community, to incentivize the community to participate. And so I think, pretty standard, I think, from a project that just went TGE. Over the next 30, 60 days, we want to keep the momentum and spread the awareness and continue the distribution of the token and keep adding utility to the token. So I would say look out for a pretty cool, hopefully a DeFi related product announcement that will be coming out by the summertime. That it would be really big. So I would keep an eye out for that. Yeah.
Cool. So after the TGE, so you have lots of things you have to do. Do not focus on the token, just focus on the products and the features, right? So the second thing is where can the Vietnamese audience go to experience Agentic World and start mining their first agents?
Go to us. So they mynetwork.xyz, and you can launch the app and participate in Agentic World. And then on all of our socials, you'll see all the incentives, all the incentive campaigns that we launch. You'll see on mynetwork_xyz. So that's Twitter, Telegram, Discord. And we're in those. We monitor the channels. So anybody that has questions, we're here to help.
So everyone follow up the agent, your My Network, your SYS, Agentic World, and maybe we have to try the AI agent to have a lot of rework and how to and try to understand how the Agentic World AI agent give you the rework beside many halves inside. Thank you so much about Christian. And tonight we didn't just see about the price check. We didn't focus on the price, but we saw the infrastructure behind a new way to use the AI in the crypto and the agentic world, the AI agent of the My Network, and upcoming plan of the My Network, right? And finally, thank you so much for your time. Christian, and I'm very clearly on my side and the Vietnamese audience. Thank you so much, Christian. Thank you.
Jason, thank you for having me. So it's great to see you, man. Looking forward to doing this again sometime soon.
Yeah, bye-bye.
All
Have
right,
a good
bye-bye.
time. Have a good day with your kids.
I will. Thank you.